Alright, so is Adrien Brody's Oscar speech for The Brutalist really that bad? I'm going to react and find out. Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender. So I have a fun video for you today. I wanted to make a video about Adrien Brody's Oscar victory for The Brutalist, Best Actor. I thought about doing 5 reasons why he won, because he didn't take SAG. Timothée Chalamet won at SAG. So I thought maybe there was enough to do a similar video I did about Mikey Madison with Adrien Brody. But then I thought about it and I thought, you know what would be more fun? To react in full to his speech. And not just watching me listen to it. Have me start and stop moments of his speech and react to what he's doing, what he's saying, all the way through, the whole thing. I did a similar video like this many months ago with Kathy Bates, Oscar win for Misery. That's a better win, I would say, and a better speech. But because there's been so much antipathy toward Brody's speech a few days ago, so many people hate it, called it the worst moment of the night. I called it the second worst moment. So I'm okay, let's go through it, kind of pick it apart and see why do people hate this speech so much? And let's begin with Cillian Murphy's reveal of the winner.
And the Oscar goes to Adrien Brody.
I feel like most of us expected Brody to win. He had lost at SAG, like I said, but he won Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, BAFTA. BAFTA is a big one, right? As we found out with Mikey Madison. And I don't know, he just had the most gravitas in his performance. It really is a truly groundbreaking, fantastic dramatic performance he gives in The Brutalist. So I figured he was winning, and his reaction to the reveal that he won, isn't overly surprising. I think he expected it. Let's look at the other 4 reactions. How did the other 4 men react?
Adrien Brody.
Chalamet doesn't have much of a reaction, right? He's just yeah. I think Chalamet wanted that Oscar. He wanted to win, so you can see he's a little disappointed there.
Adrien Brody.
Colman Domingo has the most enthusiastic reaction, I'd say. I mean, almost immediately, he is up on his feet, giving Brody a standing ovation.
Adrien Brody.
Ralph Fiennes' reaction is okay, great. Can I go home now? It must have been rough for Ralph Fiennes this entire award season to get nominated everywhere and just never win. It's he's just okay, is this the last one? The Oscars, right? That's the last one. I don't have to do this anymore, right? Fantastic.
Adrien Brody.
And then Sebastian Stan, he's pretty enthusiastic, I would say. He doesn't look overly surprised. Nobody was really surprised, that Brody was taking this. But I would say Stan gives a pretty, cordial reaction. He had no chance in hell of winning. So it was well, if it was going to Chalamet or Brody or Fiennes in an all-timer upset, I think Stan would have done the same thing. Just clap, because he knew he wasn't winning.
This is the second Oscar win and second nomination for Adrien Brody.
Big standing ovation, of course, for Brody. Everybody around him, they are standing, they are cheering. You got Felicity Jones there, you got Guy Pearce, and everyone's very happy for him. I mean, didn't pretty much every winner at the last Oscar ceremony get a standing ovation? I feel it was almost everybody. They were on their feet clapping. In decades past, you had to have a really special win to get a standing ovation from the crowd. Like I talked about in that Kathy Bates video, they do not stand for Kathy Bates. Her win for Misery, one of my favorite acting Oscar wins ever. And it's just polite clapping. They're just okay. It's did you guys watch that film? Did you see that performance? Get on your feet. This woman deserves a standing ovation. And then nowadays, it's everybody gets a standing ovation. Doesn't matter the quality of the film or performance or whatever. It's oh, it's a big win for this movie, and it's the Academy Awards. Let's get up on our feet for everybody. I kind of like it, in previous decades when you really had to do something special, I would say, to get a standing ovation. I like that he hugs his director, Brady Corbet. He gives Guy Pearce a kiss on the lips. I think all of us would like to give Guy Pearce a kiss on the lips. Am I right? All right, the gum thing. Let's talk about the gum thing. So Adrien Brody, throughout the ceremony, was smacking away on some gum, and on his walk up to the podium, he realized, oh shit, like, I'm chewing gum. What do I do with it? You know, I can't really, like, put it in my pocket. You know, I guess he could swallow it, but... So what does he do? He turns around and he tosses his gum at his date. Like, who kind of fumbles it like a football, like doesn't quite catch it. Yeah, that was not a good start to Adrien Brody's Oscar moment, I would say. That was kind of tacky. Nice hug there with Cillian Murphy, of course, the previous year's Best Actor Oscar winner for Oppenheimer. I don't think Cillian Murphy quite realized how long he was going to be standing there, you know? Most of the Oscar speeches, you know, like 2 minutes, maybe 3 or something, but like Cillian Murphy, settle in. You're gonna be there a while.
They're already counting me down. Okay. Thank you, God.
They're already counting me down. Okay. So at the very beginning of his speech, the first thing he says is referencing the countdown. So he knows it's there. and I don't know for sure, like, how much time is counting down? Is it 45 seconds? Maybe 1 minute? You know? So he knows right at the top, okay, I've got to make this brief. And yet he is about to go on for more than 5 minutes. So, like...
If I may just humbly begin by giving thanks for the tremendous outpouring of love that I've felt from this world.
So beyond that first sentence, the start of his speech is solid, right? It's very gracious, and it feels like it comes from the heart, you know, what he says here at the beginning. I have nothing, you know, funny or negative to say. There are parts of Brody's speech I thought were effective. It wasn't just a disaster all the way through. I think, like I said in my reaction video, I was like, man, I didn't like that middle part of his speech, but some of it was okay. I still feel that way. It's not all bad. Like, the start of it here is solid, I would say.
The one thing that I've gained having the privilege to come back here is to have some perspective.
It's funny, you can tell in those early sentences of his speech that he is going to be there a while. You know, like, sometimes you can tell in those first 20 seconds, is this going to be a brief speech, or are they going to go on and on and on? It's like he's setting up a story in those first 30 to 40 seconds, and you're like, okay, like, everyone settle in, because this man is going to be talking for a while. When he starts setting up that story about how grateful he is, like, this man has some things to say.
And no matter where you are in your career, no matter what you've accomplished.
Notice how annoyed Cillian Murphy looks back there. Like it hasn't even been a full minute, and you can tell he's like ready to leave. He's like, okay, you know, he's kind of fidgeting a little bit, and he's like, okay, you know, gotta have just like a stoic expression on my face, and I have to stand here. I can't walk away. You know, like, I have to stay till the end of the speech. I think Murphy knew early on, like, oh, this is going to be very, very long. Maybe he's thinking like, well, would anyone notice if I just calmly, like, walked off stage and let Adrien Brody finish? He's like, are there cameras on me? You know, maybe not.
It can all go away. And I think what makes this night most special is the awareness of that.
I do like that part of his speech where he's like, you know, all of this can go away. This night has reminded me, you know, how special this moment can be. Like, Adrien Brody, it's not like right after The Pianist, he became a big star and, was demanding $15 million a movie. And, he's in King Kong in 2005, and he's in a couple big films. He's, of course, worked with some great directors like Wes Anderson. But his career over the last 22 years, since his Oscar win for The Pianist, has had its ups and downs, right? Like, there were years there where he wasn't in much. The films he was appearing in, weren't getting much like distribution, like we're going to straight to video and stuff. Like, his career has had some stumbles, right? So to get to The Brutalist and, his second Oscar victory and Best Actor for that, like, I do like that moment. Like, he does acknowledge, like, this doesn't happen all the time. For me to be back here, to win again, like this is an anomaly. And I have worked very, very hard on tons of movies that you've probably never seen or maybe even heard of to get to this moment.
Winning an award like this it signifies a destination.
All right, so yeah, the speech is starting to feel long. I do think it's weird that, throughout most of that speech, we don't cut to the audience. We don't cut to any reactions. It's like we're going back and forth between two different angles on Brody. And I think that's what makes the speech feel really long. Like, we're not getting like a wide shot of the stage. We're not getting like close-ups of his fellow nominees, let's say, like Chalamet and Fiennes and, maybe some other people in the audience, just to liven things up and not have it just be on Brody for like minutes on end. I do think that's also why it feels really long.
The pinnacle of a career, it is a chance to begin again.
I just noticed this. I like how on the right side of the frame, you can see Sebastian Stan as Donald Trump throughout Adrien Brody's speech. Like, notice on the left side of the frame, like, it's not very clear what that is, but on the right side, you see a little bit of Coleman Domingo in the bottom right, but like front and center there, like, you really see Sebastian Stan's Donald Trump look right next to Adrien Brody. It's kind of foreboding. It's kind of like, oh God.
For that the next 20 years of my life, that I can prove that I am worthy of such meaningful and important and relevant roles.
So he seems to be pleading there, like, okay, can I have a better next 20 years of my career than the last 20 years were? That's what I'm getting from that. He speaks very slow. If he knew exactly what he wanted to say, he had like 2 or 3 points to make before he got off the stage, and he was a little bit faster, I think the speech would have gone over better. But it does seem like in the moment, he's just like, he hasn't thought about what he wanted to say until he's standing there. And so he's just kind of going through his head of like, well, maybe I should mention, like, I really do hope this second Oscar means that the next 20 years I'm going to have better roles and better films and things. But he does so at such a slow pace that... and you can tell in those first 2 minutes of his speech, like there's no end in sight here. He's going to be talking for a while.
I share this with my fellow nominees who...
There's Cillian Murphy again, just looking absolutely thrilled. I think by this point, Murphy's like, okay, I'm going to be here a while. I had some plans in the next few minutes that I think I have to stay put. I think there are enough cameras on me here. I think I have to stay put. He doesn't look mad, but you can tell he's like, okay, Adrien, let's wrap this up.
Who are just wonderful human beings who...
I like that the nominee we cut to is Coleman Domingo, the one who was up on his feet first, very thrilled for Brody's win. He looks, happy for him in that moment. He's not like, what if it cut to an audience member, like a fellow nominee, Chalamet or Fiennes or someone, and they're full on asleep. They're full on snoring, they're like asleep. It wouldn't have been shocking, I would say. I like that we cut to Domingo, and he's just, like, smiling, and, there's not a look of disdain, but, just wait. There is going to be a look of disdain very shortly.
Exude grace and goodness.
And there it is. Sebastian Stan is like... I know some people have pulled that image and used it as like, he's all pissed off. I mean, I think, when you catch someone for 2 seconds, you don't really know what they're thinking. You don't know. Like maybe that's just the expression he was making. But like, if we were to take a guess at what Stan is thinking in that moment, he's probably like, oh my God, he's still talking. Domingo looks happy. Stan does not.
There's so many people to thank. I will really try and be as brief as possible.
All right, so we're about 2 minutes into the 5 minutes and 40 seconds, and Brody says, I'll try to be as brief as possible. Like, you'd think he would have said that, like, at the beginning, like when he saw the timer. To be 2 minutes in and to say, all right, guys, I'm going to be as brief as possible. Like, have you seen Joe Pesci's Oscar acceptance speech, Adrien Brody? Have you seen that?
Oh, it's my privilege. Thank you.
That is brief. That is a brief acceptance speech. To be 2 minutes in and to say, guys, I'm going to try to be brief. It's like, okay.
A24 and Focus and Universal for believing in us.
All right, so he's thanking his team, he's thanking like the different companies involved with The Brutalist, and usually like when an actor is accepting an Oscar and they're getting to like the team and, thanking A24 and stuff, that's usually toward the end. It's like, okay, I've said everything I wanted to, let me just quickly thank some necessary people and companies. That's usually like in the last 30 to 40 seconds of a speech. So for him to be doing that now, and there's still like 3 more minutes, oh my God, oh my God.
Brady and Mona, for what you've done for independent film.
I like that he thanked his director, Brady Corbet. I feel like in 5.5 minutes, that would have been bad if he had not thanked his director. So that moment's good. Corbet, I can't really tell what he's thinking from that expression, but it must have been a thrill for Corbet to see his lead actor win the Academy Award, for Best Leading Actor of the Year. I mean, that must have been awesome for him in that moment. So even though he's not like smiling, I think Corbet is happy there, right?
Guy and Felicity, you're just brilliant and lovely.
I like that he thanks Pierce and Jones. I don't know why we don't get a close-up on Jones in that moment. That would have been nice, but we do get Pierce, and he looks happy, I don't think Pierce is feeling like, okay, it's going a little long there, Adrien. I think he's happy to see his co-star up on stage accepting this Oscar. I think Pierce accepting the Oscar trophy and supporting actor would have been awesome as well, just saying.
With my amazing partner, Georgina, who has not only reinvigorated my own self-worth, but my sense of value and my values.
I mean, I wish she could have held up the gum, as she's sitting there crying, she like holds up the gum. She's like, I got it. So it's like, okay, there's 2.5 more minutes of the speech to go, and he's kind of thanked everyone he needed to. It definitely feels like at this moment, he's going to start wrapping up. Maybe he's got like 30 to 40 seconds left, so that there's 2.5 minutes to go. Like, what's going on here, Brody?
Thank you for accepting me into your life. And Popsy's coming home a winner.
All right, that feels like the end there. That feels like it's the end. He's got maybe 2 more sentences in him. It feels like it's coming to an end, right? Right?
And Judy Becker, the real Laszlo Toth, who deserves to be up here as well.
All right, the music has started, right? The music has begun. They are playing off our latest winner for Best Actor at the Oscars, and the music's pretty loud. It's not like coming on very, very soft. Like they go right in, man. They start playing it loud. It's like, okay, Adrien, get off the stage. But we got 2 more minutes left, guys. He's not going anywhere.
And I'm wrapping up. Please, I'm wrapping up. I will wrap up. Please turn the music off. I've done this before. Thank you.
Okay, that was the part I really didn't like. You know, I thought that wasn't very classy. It's okay for him to say, you know, I guess turn off the music. I mean, I guess I could live with that. But him saying like I've done this before, you know, that part of it, I think he was trying to be funny in this moment, but it doesn't come off very well. It does come off a little egotistical, and like, again, if he just had like one more quick thing to say, if he had like 30 seconds left, fine. But he still has a ways to go. So are they going to turn off the music? Are they going to turn off the music for Brody?
Wonderful. It's not my first rodeo, but I will be brief. I will not be egregious, I promise.
It's not my first rodeo. I will be brief. He says it again. I will be brief. He has been up there for about 4 minutes. I will be brief. I will not be egregious. Like, oh God. This is the part of the speech where we were like starting to roll our eyes and like, oh my God, he's still talking. And I don't know, just his like, turn off the music, like stop. I'll be brief. I'll be brief. Adrien, you've been up there for 4 minutes. Like, the longest Oscar acceptance speech in history is 5 minutes and 30 seconds. You've been on that stage for about 4 minutes, and you say, I'll be brief. like, are you serious right now? Oh my God.
I'm oddly, I have to thank my mom and dad who are here as well.
So the music does turn off. Like, it's not like it doesn't slowly fade or anything. They just cut it off. And okay, who's he thanking now? His parents. Okay, that's important. But like, he couldn't think to thank them earlier in the speech. He couldn't have just, you know, real quickly said thank you to my mom and dad. It's like we're having this spectacle. It's like, you know, turn off the music, guys. Pause. I want to thank my mom and dad. It's like, okay, if he had thought this speech through a little bit, he could have had that earlier. He could have been a little bit quicker, right?
Of kindness and a wonderful spirit, and they've given me the strength to pursue this dream.
All right, that's nice. A nice thing to say about your parents, you know. Okay, we're at 4.5 minutes here, Adrien. Are you about done? Like, what else is there to say at this point? You have thanked everyone you needed to. You have said what you wanted to say, but we still have another minute to go.
I'm here once again to represent...
It's Killian again. Killian is like holding the envelope. He's like licking his lips like, you know, oh my God, would it have been just like the most amazing thing if like in the wide shot you see Killian going like this, like, like pointing to a wristwatch kind of a thing. You can tell Cillian Murphy is like, okay, Adrien, let's wrap it up. Jesus.
Lingering traumas and the repercussions of war and systematic oppression.
Okay, so he's getting to like the real important topics, right, of his film. And, you know, this is kind of how he ended his speech 22 years ago when he won for The Pianist. Like, he thanked his team and he thanked, like, you know, a bunch of people involved with the movie. But then at the end of the speech, he touched on like the broader kind of important topics of the film. And I think that's what he's trying to do here in his speech for The Brutalist. It's like it's coming in a little bit too late, you know? It's just like he needed to hurry things up a little bit more, I would say.
And I believe that I pray for a healthier and a happier and a more inclusive world.
I do like that we got some variety with the camera work there. Like, instead of just being on his face, we haven't had a whole lot of like camera movement. So like, to go from the Oscar trophy up to his face, like, there's some variety, right? I still think we could have cut to the audience a bit more in these 5.5 minutes. But yeah, there was that, like a little bit of camera movement for the end of his speech here.
It's a reminder to not let hate go unchecked.
That moment gets some big applause from the audience. Notice how he says that about hates and who's in the frame. Again, Sebastian Stan as Donald Trump, right? Kind of interesting.
Okay, I'll get out of here. I love you.
And there it is. The music starts up again, and he says, "Okay, I'll get out. I'll get out of here." What if he had said at this point of the speech, 5.5 almost minutes in, "Okay, I'll get out of here. I promise I'll be brief." Now I think Brody knows. Okay, they're starting the music again. I should probably wrap things up.
Let's fight for what's right. Keep smiling, keep loving one another. Let's rebuild together.
Okay, so the very end of his speech is good, right? Like it doesn't end on a womp womp note where he's just like, "Okay, gotta go, bye." Like what he says there at the end is solid. Again, I don't think this entire speech is bad. That bit at the end is effective. You know, if it had come a little bit earlier, I would say. If the speech had been, instead of 5 minutes and 40 seconds, if he had been able to capture all of what he wanted to say in about a 3.5-minute speech, I think he could have done it. If he had known exactly what he wanted to touch on, it's just the slowness in his delivery and like the length going a good 2 minutes over, you know, what he needed to. I think that's why people really, really have not cared for the speech as a whole.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. That's where they cut off the speech on YouTube. I was like, do we see him walking away with Cillian Murphy? Like, I was like curious, like, what is Murphy's expression as they walk off the stage? Just like utter delightment, you know? The biggest smile we have ever seen from Cillian Murphy? I don't know. So those are my reactions to Adrien Brody's Best Actor Oscar speech for The Brutalist. Again, I don't think it's all bad. There's moments in there. It's like, okay, we could have hurried this up a little bit, Adrien, but you know, no matter how flawed or whatever his speech might have been, I still very much appreciate that Oscar victory. That was my favorite male performance of 2024, Adrien Brody in The Brutalist. It's a great win. It's a great performance. Just, you know, not one of the best speeches at the 97th Academy Awards. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below, what did you think of Adrien Brody's Best Actor Oscar speech, and I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.